Ever heard of the Avalanche and Snowball methods for tackling debt? They're super helpful. These strategies can really change the game when it comes to paying off what you owe. In this video, we will be breaking down each method and finding out which one is king. Welcome back to the official FinFlix channel. If you like this kind of content, give us a like and subscribe as it really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Let's begin. The Avalanche method is a strategy for paying off debt that tells you to pay off the debts with the highest interest rate first. For example, if you have a credit card balance with an 18% interest rate and another with a 12% interest rate, the Avalanche method would tell you to pay off the 18% interest rate balance first. The idea is that by tackling the most expensive debt first, you'll save yourself a lot of money in the long run by reducing the amount of interest that gets compounded against you. The Snowball Method, on the other hand, is a strategy for paying off debt that tells you to pay off the smallest balance first. Then take the money you were paying towards that debt and roll it into the next smallest debt until you've paid off all of your debts. So, which method is better? Well, it really depends on your situation. If you're someone who needs to see quick wins in order to stay motivated, then the Snowball Method may be a better option for you. On the other hand, if you're someone who is more logical and less emotional when it comes to money, then the Avalanche method may make more sense. Now let's get into the psychology of this debate. Snowball wins the motivation game. When it comes to paying off debt, motivation is everything. If you don't have the motivation to stick to your debt payoff plan, then you're not going to be successful. And the Snowball Method knows this. That's why it was designed to give you as many emotional victories as possible. By starting with the smallest debt and working your way up, you'll be able to see progress quickly, which will keep you motivated and on track. Seeing progress, no matter how small, triggers happy chemicals in our brain like dopamine and serotonin. This makes us feel good about ourselves and reinforces the behaviors that led to that progress. In other words, it makes us feel like we're on top of things and that we can achieve anything we set our minds to. And that feeling is powerful. It's what keeps people going when times are tough and what helps them achieve seemingly impossible goals. On the other hand, the Avalanche method isn't quite as emotionally rewarding. It focuses more on the math than the motivation. But don't let that fool you. The Avalanche method can be just as effective, if not more so, than the Snowball method. It just requires a little bit more discipline. But once you get the ball rolling, so to speak, the Avalanche method can become a powerful force. As you start to pay off more and more debt, the interest rate on your debts will start to go down. This means that you'll be saving more and more money each month, which can be a great motivator. Plus, as you pay off more debt, you'll free up more of your income for things that you enjoy. This can help you stay on track with the Avalanche method because you'll always have something to look forward to. How does each method work? As I mentioned earlier, the Snowball method is a debt payoff strategy that focuses on motivation. It starts with the smallest debt and works its way up. The idea is to get some quick wins under your belt early on so that you'll stay motivated. And the best part about the Snowball method is that it doesn't require any complicated math or financial planning. You simply pay off the smallest debt and then move on to the next smallest. For example, let's say you have 3 debts, one for $500, one for $1,000, and one for $3,000. The Snowball method would tell you to pay off the $500 balance first, then the $1,000 balance, and then the $3,000 balance. Here's how it might work. Let's say you're able to put an extra $100 a month towards your debts. In the first month, you would use that $100 to pay off the $500 balance. This would leave you with 2 debts of $1,000 and $3,000. In the second month, you would continue to make the minimum payments on both of these debts. Since you've already paid off the smallest balance, you'll have a little more money to work with. You would use the extra $100 plus the $500 you freed up from the first debt to pay off the $1,000 balance. This would leave you with 1 debt of $3,000. In the third month, you would use the extra $200 plus the $1,000 you freed up from the second debt to pay off the $3,000 balance. And congratulations, you're debt-free. Now let's look at how the Avalanche method works. The Avalanche method is a debt payoff strategy that focuses on the math. It starts with the debt that has the highest interest rate and works its way down. The idea is to save yourself as much money as possible in the long run by reducing the amount of interest that compounds against you. And the best thing about the Avalanche method is that it's very simple to understand. You simply pay off the debt with the highest interest rate and then move on to the next highest. For example, let's say you have 3 debts, one for $500 with an 8% interest rate, one for $1,000 with a 10% interest rate, and one for $3,000 with a 12% interest rate. The Avalanche method would tell you to pay off the $3,000 balance first, then the $1,000 balance, and then the $500 balance. Here's how it might work. Let's say you're able to put an extra $100 a month towards your debts. In the first month, you would use that $100 to pay down the $3,000 balance. This would leave you with 2 debts of $1,000 and $500. In the second month, you would continue to make the minimum payments on both of these debts. Since you've already paid down the most expensive debt, you'll start to save a little bit of money each month on interest. That means you'll have a little extra money to work with. You would use the extra $100 plus the $500 you freed up from the first debt to pay off the $1,000 balance. This would leave you with 1 debt of $500. In the third month, you would use the extra $200 plus the $1,000 you freed up from the second debt to pay off the $500 balance. And congratulations, you're now debt-free. Which method pays off debt faster? If you liked the video so far, drop us a like and comment on which method you think you would use and why. Let's do a case study. Let's say you have 5 credit card balances. The first has a balance of $4,000 and an interest rate of 19%. The second has a balance of $3,000 and an interest rate of 17%. The third has a balance of $2,000 and an interest rate of 15%. The fourth has a balance of $1,000 and an interest rate of 13%. And the fifth has a balance of $500 and an interest rate of 11%. If you were to use the Avalanche method, you would focus on paying off the first credit card as fast as possible since it has the highest interest rate. Once that was paid off, you would move on to the second credit card and so on. If you were to use the Snowball method, you would start with the credit card with the smallest balance since it has the lowest interest rate. Once that was paid off, you would take the money you were using to pay off that credit card and roll it into the next smallest credit card balance and so on. Now let's run the numbers. If you made minimum payments on all of your cards and paid off the first card with the highest interest rate using the Avalanche method, it would take you over 16 years to pay off all of your debt and you would pay over $32,000 in interest. If you did the same thing but used the Snowball method, it would take you over 19 years to pay off all of your debt and you would pay over $41,000 in interest. Now let's change things up a bit. Let's say you're able to put an extra $100 a month towards your debts. If you use the Avalanche method, it would take you almost 11 years to pay off all of your debt and you would pay over $16,000 in interest. If you use the Snowball method, it would take you almost 13 years to pay off all of your debt and you would pay over $20,000 in interest. So, as you can see, the Avalanche method is definitely the more mathematically sound approach when it comes to paying off debt. It will save you a lot of money on interest in the long run. However, as we've seen, it also takes a lot more discipline to stick to the Avalanche method. It can be really tough to stay motivated when you're making progress, but it's slow progress and it can take a while before you start seeing any real results. So which method is right for you? Ultimately, the best method for paying off debt is the one that you're actually able to stick to. If you need to see quick wins in order to stay motivated, then the Snowball method may be a better option for you. If you're more logical than emotional when it comes to money, then the Avalanche method may make more sense for you. There's no right or wrong answer here. It all depends on your situation. I hope this video has been helpful in comparing the Avalanche and Snowball methods so you can decide which one is right for you. Do you have any experience with either of these methods? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about personal finance, be sure to check out the rest of my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss any valuable videos in the future. Thank you for watching the official FinFlix, and I'll see you in the next video.